Hey everyone, welcome back to M&MM IELTS. This is Manmohit. Now, in today's video, we are going to talk about another of the IELTS writing essay type, I would say, one of the question types, which is your advantages and disadvantages. So, in total, we know that there are five different types of essays. So, we did cover one of them in the recent video, and we would be covering all these different types of essays in the upcoming video. So, if you haven't subscribed, do consider subscribing so that whenever those videos are up, you do get notified about them pretty much straight away. So, let's jump right into it. Now, as the name says, advantages and disadvantages, it simply means that whatever essay topic, whatever essay question that would be given to you, they would be asking you about its merits and demerits. Now, this type of question can come in two different ways. First way is they will just say, what are the advantages and disadvantages of the above topic? As simple as that. Another way that they can frame the question would be, do you believe the advantages outweigh the disadvantages? Something like this. So they can frame the question in different ways. Again, they may say, are the advantages, or the other way around, are the disadvantages outweighing the advantages of this topic? So yes, the question can come in different forms, but then your answer, it's not going to change because the question type still remains to be advantages and disadvantages. In order for you to answer this, you can definitely state both of the things. You can state advantages as well, also the disadvantages, and then just conclude by giving a debatable conclusion, or you can even just go in favor of anything. You can just state the advantages. If the question says, are there advantages or disadvantages of doing that, if they give you the word or, in that case, you definitely have a choice. You can just state advantages in the entire essay, or you can just state disadvantages in the entire essay. You will not lose any band score. But if the question is, what are the advantages and disadvantages, in that case, yes, you will need to list both. Yes, at the end, in the conclusion, you can favor one thing, that's perfectly fine, but then you will need to list both of them. I myself am in a favor of listing both of the things because you will then have variety of content. If you just state one of the things, that means your essay will look pretty plain and boring. Doesn't mean you cannot get your band score. Yes, you can. But when you have two different points of views, in that case, yes, your essay becomes a bit more informative, a bit more variety of the content. So this is just a bit of gist about the essay topic. Now we do know that we get 40 minutes in the real exam. Now obviously you would be given 60 minutes in total for the entire writing essay. 20 minutes for the first task, 40 minutes for the second task. But then it is again in your control as to how much time are you willing to give on each task. You can finish the first one in 15 minutes and give 45 minutes to the other one. You can finish the first in 10 minutes, give the other one 50 minutes, depending upon you. But again, I would not recommend giving this essay topic more than 40 minutes. Yes, it's very important, but you have to understand there's another task one which require your attention as well. So prefer having a time of 40 minutes. Now, the first 5 minutes should purely go towards generating ideas. Do not do anything else. Your plain and simple thing that you would be doing in the exam is to jot down ideas, because I've seen many students, what they do is they will not think about ideas, start writing or typing down the essay. They're halfway through, and that's when they realize, okay, their essay doesn't make any sense anymore. So that's not an ideal thing to do in the exam, because you would be wasting a lot of time. Just take 5 minutes, understand how are you going to approach the essay in your rough notebook, or anywhere you can take some rough notes, or even in your mind you can just try to understand and try to think of what sort of ideas can you give. Once you have taken those 5 minutes and thought about what sort of ideas are you going to bring into picture, that's when you start writing or typing down your essay. Always keep an eye on the word limit, because when you're writing down, if you're giving a paper based exam, you will have to count your words by yourself. If you are giving a computer based exam, you would be able to see how many words you have typed down. In this case, they want you to type at least 250 words. So even if you type about 280, 300 words, 320, something like that, it should be okay. They're not going to deduct band score for that one. But if you look at the keyword, it says at least. That means bare minimum you have to have 250 words. I would suggest anything above 250, but then prefer finishing by 300 words. You don't need to type more than that, because if you're typing 350, 400 words, it gives me a bit of an idea that you are just, you may not be able to finish your exam on time if you're typing 350 words and all. So yep, at least 250 words, but prefer having anything around about 300 words should be an ideal mark. Now what I'll do is I'll bring up an essay type, essay question that we are going to go through, and a sample answer, a good band score sample answer that we can go through, so that we can understand as to how to approach an essay, what sort of words, vocabulary and all that stuff are they looking from you, and how to go about this particular essay topic. So this is the question that we have. These days, many people leave their country to work abroad and take their family with them. Do you think benefits of this outweigh disadvantages in terms of family development? Always and always make sure we follow whatever they are asking from us. So our advantages, disadvantages have to be in relation to family development. That's very important. So we can't go with jobs and all that stuff in this particular essay, because that is not directly related to family development. So we have to stick to whatever the question is asking from us. That's very important. The way they have framed the question, do you think benefits of this outweigh disadvantages? Again, your opinion could be you may give advantages and disadvantages both for this essay, which I would be doing myself, and then at the end you can just say, maybe giving a debatable thing that yes, the advantages are there and also the disadvantages, and they are equal. You can say yes, the advantages you can say outweigh disadvantages, or you can even say no, the disadvantages outweigh advantages. It all depends upon you, whatever you are convenient with and whatever you are in favor of. Let's look at a sample answer for this one as to how can you go about this particular essay. Now let's look at the sample answer for this one. So this is what I have written over here. It's roughly about 290 words roughly. So that's a good word limit, because we are having at least 250 words, and that's what the question was about. Now what I've done is I've given some benefits over here, I've given some disadvantages over here, and I've given a conclusion, and that's my introduction paragraph. You can make more paragraphs if you feel like, that's perfectly fine. But again, I prefer sticking to 4-paragraph rule, because that's a very generic, professional, I would say academic approach to an essay. I just give my introduction, give support one side, I'm against another side, so in 2 different paragraphs, and then finally I conclude. So I've got 4 paragraphs over here. So what I've done is I've given a very clear introduction, just so that any examiner who is checking my exam, just by looking at it, they get a better, clear understanding of what my essay is going to be all about. So what I've done is the opportunities to work abroad are more today than they have ever been in the history of mankind. The world has become a small global village, and the sovereign barriers seem to have disappeared. That means the world has become a very small place now, because it's very easy to travel overseas. While working in a foreign country, some individuals take their families with them. Because our essay was, the question was talking about family development, so I have to introduce family in there. This situation has both merits as well as demerits. I will explain them both by supporting them with relevant examples. So what I'm going to do in this essay is, the examiner already knows that I am not just going to be in favor of one, I am going to talk about merits, as in talk about advantages as well, and also about the disadvantages. So very clear in my very first paragraph. Afterwards, there are many obvious benefits of going abroad to work along with family. So I cannot just state benefits of working alone, I have to state benefits of working with family, because I have to talk about how is it related to family development. To begin with, by working overseas, people will earn higher incomes, and as a consequence, their family's standard of living and economic conditions will improve, especially for people who migrate from third world countries to advanced countries. So this is how people's lives, families' lives are going to improve by moving overseas. I've given another advantage, which is secondly, some people are moving to another country due to in the new country their children will get a better education. And if children get better education, what would happen because of that? Their family will develop. For instance, like I said, that I would be supporting it with examples. Many people from India, you can mention any other country from India, are migrating to Australia as permanent residents and working there due to they are hoping that their children could have the opportunity to study at world-class universities over there. So very clear with my advantages. I've given 2 advantages. You can even give 1. You can even give more than 2. That's absolutely fine. And that's up to you. But I just made sure that I'm not exceeding my word limit by so much. I could have just given another advantage and increased my word limit 300 plus, but I just wanted to keep it short and sweet. Then I've stated my disadvantages, saying that on the other hand, there are some problems with working abroad with families. To begin with, living with family members abroad means more expenses. A single person can share a room with someone in the initial stages, but a complete family needs a proper house. What is more, all the members face the stress of adaptation to alien surroundings. Parents themselves feel culture shock and therefore cannot help their children. So I basically took the same advantage that I stated in my first paragraph and I gave the negative of that as well, and I gave the disadvantage of the very same paragraph. Again, you can have a completely different disadvantage, that's completely up to you, or you can have a completely same disadvantage of the advantage that you've already given in the first paragraph. Completely up to you. It just depends on how you approach that particular essay. And to conclude, this is what I've written. To put it in a nutshell, there are both advantages and disadvantages to any choice of this issue. Personally, now I'm giving my opinion, which is I believe that people should decide according to their specific circumstances. If there are financial constraints, then it is better to go alone initially. However, the family should be called as early as possible. Keep one thing in mind, the examiner is not going to judge you based on your opinion. Your opinion could be negative, your opinion could be positive, your opinion could be anything. Examiner is not going to judge you based on that. The examiner just want to see how well do you have the command of the English language in terms of writing. That's all that they are there to see. If you look in this essay, yes, the vocabulary words are there, but do you see extraordinary vocabulary words which you feel that, okay, that's just straight out of the dictionary? Not really. You have to use vocabulary words the way I have, but then you also have to make sure the words that you're using, you actually know those words and those words make sense as well. If the examiner finds out that you have copied and pasted the words, as in if you have memorized the words and you have just pasted them because you wanted to use some heavy, bulky vocabulary words, you're not going to gain any band score because of using bulky words. If the words do not make sense, if the words do not sound sensible in your essay, you will not get a good band score. Use the words wisely, use those words which you actually know the application for. Do not just use them just for the sake of using the words. I hope this video was helpful. If you have any sort of questions or anything in regards to this topic or any other topic for that matter, do make sure you leave them down in the comment section below, and me and Mohit would be answering all of you as quickly as possible. If you have any sort of content ideas, you again can drop them down in the comment section below and we can prioritize those kind of videos for you first. If you haven't already, you can consider subscribing so that whenever the new videos are up, which are every single week, you would be notified about them. All the best if you have got your exam coming soon, and I'll see you all in the next video.